All right, welcome back everyone to the next episode on SAP Fiori Security cum Fiori Launchpad training. In our last episode, we talked about the concept of Fiori Launchpad Designer. We've also talked about how you can create what is actually a catalog, what is actually a group, and what is a intent. These are all the ingredients to make a beautiful recipe called Fiori Launchpad tile. We discussed a brief about them. We have deployed a custom Fiori application to our SAP S/4HANA front-end server. And then we discussed about the different layer concept of what is configuration, customizing, and personalization. The configuration will be done inside the conf layer. The customizing will be done inside the cust layer, and personalization will be done by user itself. Configuration is client independent. It affects every user in the system. Customizing is client dependent. It affects only the user which are pertaining in a particular client. Personalization is only going to affect one single user. Now, let us talk about how do we create our tile into the system for our custom Fiori application. So if you remember, we've deployed our custom Fiori application locally in our system in my local object. Let me go to my local object. And now here you can see we have BSP library, and you can see we have deployed our app called Fiori app underscore dev. This is the dev app which we have created and deployed. And if you see, basically we just think about a random application which a developer in your team, in your company have deployed. We've already covered a basic about Fiori development. In our initial chapter, we saw the most important file for you as a security consultant is this. If you don't find this file in any Fiori project, which is uploaded by developers, you can complain them and tell them that this is not a Fiori-like app. This file is mandatory. If you see this file is missing in the project, that is not a Fiori project. Okay. So as a security consultant, this is what we need. Just that's all you need to know. Now, let's see how do we create now a tile for this. To be able to do so, we need to open the transaction code. So /o. Let me keep adding these transactions one by one into our new LPD course. Into our important T codes. So by far we learned these many. Let me add the next T code for Launchpad Designer. So click on Insert Transaction. I can say /UI2/FLPD configuration. Click OK. Yes. And now we can double click to open this up. Guys, the recommended browser for working with Launchpad Designer is the Chrome browser. So let me copy this URL from here. And I would go and put this URL in my Chrome browser to access. Fine. Let me enter here my user ID and password. And it opens up the Launchpad Designer for us. Wow. Now, notice, remember, the first thing first which we learned in the past, that whenever you are building anything in your development system, you will move these content to your quality and production through the transport request. Similarly, when you create a tile, this tile you are building in development system, this tile also have to reach to quality and production. To be able to do that, you need to put this tile and whatever catalog, group, role, whatever you create, everything has to be inside a transport request. So what we do now is we will first create a transport request to lock the content what we're going to develop into the transport. So let's create a transport request. The transaction code in SAP to create a transport request is SE01. You can see here the name. Now, if I go to the transport organizer and create a new transport request, remember for the launchpad which you're using in conf mode, configuration mode, is a system-wide setting. So in that case, you should use workbench request. But if you're using launchpad designer in the customizing mode, you should create a customizing request. So I create a workbench request and say, okay, I will give here now the short description. So let me give a description as my launchpad content and tiles. Click on save. And now you can see a transport request has been created. We will use this transport request, Control Y, and I can copy. I'll switch over back to the Launchpad Designer. Now, let me take you to a little bit of history again of what we did in the past. If you remember, one of the important service which we activated was this one. Wow. Now I hope you all understand why we activated this service, because this service is responsible for reading transports which are there in the system on Launchpad Designer. Very important one. Okay, I'm going to switch over back and let us do it here. So what we do next step is we are going to create and lock it in a transport. So you see this setting button on the right. I click on that and now I can choose here the available transport request. Wow, you see the one which we just created, my launchpad content and tiles. I choose that and now I will give a package name to put it in a proper package. So all my content will be sent in a package. So I can put Z test, whatever I like, I can say okay. So now you see this changes, whatever you do from now on will be logged in a transport. So this is the first mistake what people do. Many people come to me and say, Anubhav, I have a tile in my development system, it's working fine. I have a catalog, I have a group, everything works fine in development. But in my quality system, I am not able to see the tile. Can anyone guess what's the problem? Why they are not able to see tile in quality and production? There is nothing like magic. They didn't even put it in a transport request. कैसे जाएगा वो क्वालिटी में पहुंच ही नहीं पाएगा आपका. You built a code in development system. The only way it can reach to quality is through the transport. If you did not put this setting button and if you did not choose the right transport and if you not release this transport, yes, whatever you do is waste. It will never reach to quality in production. However, one disadvantage of this Launchpad Designer is this button is not forcing you. Yeah, so many people kind of never remember that they have to click this button and choose the transport properly. So this is one disadvantage. So we will also keep writing down the disadvantage of Launchpad Designer parallelly, so later on we'll see what is the new tooling by SAP to improve the experience of the user. So disadvantage of Launchpad Design. So the first disadvantage is we have to always take care of, we must remember and take care of attaching the content creation to a transport by using settings icon. That's the first problem which at least I have seen people face. Okay, they forget this and they start creating content and it will not put in any transport. This is, I feel personally, is a disadvantage of Launchpad Designer. Okay, now we will create a catalog. So we click on plus. Now the next step is we create a catalog. So let's give a title. So say my all Fiori apps. I can say custom. Yeah, and then I will give a ID of this catalog. While giving the ID of this catalog, guys, it is recommended to choose proper naming convention. Remember, naming convention plays very important role in your company. Yes, if you create things with any random names, if you don't follow naming convention, it will be dirty. You will have a lot of content and nobody can understand that, right? What is a good naming convention? So basically here comes the concept of tech catalog naming convention, and catalogs are typically created of two types. First is called technical catalog, second is called business catalog. Let me explain you the difference in coming days. Once we go to SAP things, that time we'll understand it more better. But right now, understand, I'm just creating a catalog, which is a technical catalog. So I say ZTC because it's a custom one, my own one. This is not delivered by SAP. I'm creating myself for my own custom apps. So it should start with Z or Y, then TC technical catalog. Then you will put here the team name and the purpose of this. So let's say area. So it's a cross application area. Or if I'm doing for finance, then fin. If I'm doing for SD, SD. Yes. Yes, depending on the area. So we built a simple app which will work for everybody. So cross application. And then I can say, what is the purpose? So we built an app last time, which was just using some product data, yes, or supplier data. So we can say products, or I can say product management, manage PRD products. So it's a cross application manage PRD technical catalog. Let me copy this name and also store it here somewhere so I will remember. So steps to create launchpad content, step by step we are doing. So you can follow these steps later on and do this also for yourself in your company system or my system for practice. Step one, we launch the launchpad designer slash and slash UI2 slash FLPD conf. Then we select create a new transport in SE01 as workbench request. Then as a next step, we select the settings icon to choose the transport and package mandatory. The next step, we click on plus to create a catalog. We are creating a technical catalog. I'll explain you what is technical catalog, what is business catalog later on. So we have a technical catalog. Yes. So then we just give a name, an ID, name of technical catalog, an ID of technical catalog, and then click on save. So this is the name we gave. We following proper naming convention. So this is the name I'm giving. Okay. As the next step,
Anubhav, what is the, sorry to interrupt, but what is the significance of that remote? We do have a radio icon on while creating a
yes,
catalog as remote.
that is deprecated option. So earlier it was possible to create a catalog for a backend system. So remember, if you're in front end system, it's connected through RFC to the backend system. So you can actually create a tile for a backend transaction code using this remote catalog option. But now it's deprecated. We can directly create the tile for our classic GUI transaction in WebDin Pro with a different option. So this option is not deprecated. It will be removed in the next release permanently. This option will not even come.
So ideally, if we want to create a remote catalog, then ideally we should log in onto that system and create a catalog over
No,
there.
it will be done through the alias. So we use system alias here, and that as a RFC, and that through which it will fetch the details.
Okay. So now if it is removed, that means that even if we are on a central hub and if we want to create a catalog on the backend system, we should log in onto the backend system and create catalog there
No,
directly.
we will never do that because Fiori apps and Fiori Launchpad are always accessed from the Fiori front-end system. There is no need
Okay.
to do this in backend system at all.
It makes no sense of the remote.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Thank
So next step is to create a tile. So let's create a tile. So guys, as I mentioned in the last class, if you remember, catalog is home of so many tiles. Catalog is a collection of tiles, collection of lots of tile. Now, there are two types of catalog, technical catalog and business catalog. We will discuss that later. In our life, in usual practice, what we do when we build with custom Fiori apps, we don't care about technical or BC. Yeah, TC and BC, we usually don't differentiate. But SAP does. I will show you that maybe in by following that practice, you can also adopt that practice in your company. But for now, let's keep that topic aside. Let's just understand catalog. Uh, Actually, the tool, the launchpad designer doesn't differentiate. It doesn't give you an option here to say technical or business, right? but it's just a more of a understanding difference. What is a technical catalog and what is a business catalog? Okay, so now I have a technical catalog. I'm creating a catalog. I add a new tile. So click on add a tile, and there are three types of tile: dynamic tile, new tile, and static tile. So I'll create a static tile, and now this is the screen where I can add a new tile. So let me give a tile title. I can say manage product app. I can give subtitle anubhavtrainings.com. Yes. And if I show you a tile, how it looks like, you will understand different components of a tile. So let me open a launchpad and just take a screenshot of a tile and explain you the components of a tile. So let's bring here components of the tile, where what is visible. So you'll have different components of a tile. Okay, it's taking time. Come on, faster. Okay, I say Fiori tile. So I just take a screenshot. Maybe you'll understand it better. This is how the tile looks like. Yes, it's coming in different language. Okay, this looks good. This is how tile looks like, right? See different kinds of tiles here. So first of all, we have different kinds of tile, and then second, we have multiple tiles. Okay, this worked. So let me just open this, take this, come back, and just understand the different components. So if you see, a tile has something called a title. A tile has then another component called subtitle. Then you have a icon. Yes, you have extra text. Sometimes some tiles will have numbers, like you'll see here 2020. So these are the dynamic tiles. Numbers. Okay, so these are all the different types. Sometimes you see some chart tiles and all. Let's keep them aside. They are called KPI tiles, but these are all the normal typical components of a tile. So that is what we are typing now. We were providing the tile properties. So let's go back. So this is my main title, subtitle, keyword. So somebody, when they search, this tile can be found. So if somebody search product, please make this tile visible. In the icon section, now you can choose variety of icons. So I see variety of icons. So I can maybe choose, let's say this one. And next step is we will choose semantic object and action. So anybody, in the last class I taught you, what is this called together? कौन बताएगा मुझे what is this called together?
It's an intent, Anbu.
Wow, awesome. Thank you so much for that answer. It's called intent, semantic object, and action. Together, it's called intent. This is responsible for your navigation. This is an information to the end user, which you're telling that what is the purpose of this tile, okay, through the intent. What's your purpose? What's your intent? Let me show you those who forgot. You see, intent is composed of semantic object and action. Semantic object will tell you the involved area, and the action will tell you the activity for that area. So like sales order, purchase order. So there are lots of different semantic objects. If you do F4, there are lots of different semantic objects which are, oops, there's a problem with theming. You can see color is the bad problem. Actually, it's a color issue. Let me see if I can change that color. I don't have a setting option here. I think I can change this color here to this one. We changed this theme last time, right? So I just choose this high contrast. Yeah, it's better. Okay, no, not better. Got to go back and change it again. This is better. Okay, I have to reload, guys. So our catalog is already saved. Don't worry. We can see our catalog now. So just reload it to see the new theme. So there's a problem in that theme. Okay, add a tile, add a static tile, and now I have already a tile. Okay, it's already created there. I can reopen that. Okay, so manage product. just choose an icon. Yeah, and now come to semantic objects. So if I do F4, you see there are a lot of semantic objects which are given by SAP. So let's quickly come back and talk about semantic objects, how they are actually managed. So SAP manage all the semantic objects in a database table. Semantic objects. Where are these semantic objects loading from, right? Very important point. Sometime your manager may ask you to create a new semantic object. Yes, how do you bring it? Suppose you have some different types of business object. Yeah, let's say you're dealing in a very specific industry like oil and gas, or let's say retail. So how do you build, or how do you create your own semantic object, just in case you wanted to bring your own semantic objects? What's the process? So basically semantic objects, every Fiori app which is launched from launchpad is will follow intent based navigation. It tells about the user, about the purpose. Yeah, why this app is used, why this app. A short description basically on the top, on the URL, to make user more comfortable. A intent is based off two things which you already saw. First is a semantic object, and second is a action, and that's your intent. Yes, now we already talked about these two in detail in the last class. So this is the business object which is involved. What is the business object which is involved in the activity, like sales order, purchase order? Then this is the action. Action is the purpose of this particular transaction. Now what we do is we can also go and check these semantic objects which are loaded here on the launchpad. All these, they are stored somewhere. Where they are stored? And can I create my own semantic object? Yes. So all the SAP delivered standard semantic objects are stored in a view, in a T code. We can go and open a T code. It's called /UI2 /SEMOBJ underscore SAP. Underscore SAP means SAP delivered. All the custom semantic objects are created in T code /UI2 /SEMOBJ. That's all you have to type. So let me show you adding these in my favorites again. So whatever you see on the Fiori Launchpad here, Launchpad Designer here, ABAP system, ABAP so whatever, they are all there in the backend. So let me show you them. So I come and add in important T code again, the next T code, this one, and the next T code, which is the custom one. Remove SAP at the end. And now first one, I'll go to this one. If you go inside, you can see ABAP system, ABAP custom sort, ABAP O run, ABAP segment. You see ABAP system, ABAP custom sort, ABAP run, ABAP segment. So these are all stored in this standard SAP repository. You can also see the application component to which they belong. So this belongs to a supply chain management, advanced planning optimizer, PPS, ERP component. So their respective areas also you can see, and their purpose, their business object you can see here. These are all maintained by SAP. SAP gives you them. You should not change this. You should not touch. If you want your own semantic objects, you can create them in the other transaction. This one, I click, and now here I can create. You see, people are creating their own. Faith, Murli, yes, people are creating their own semantic objects. So let me create my own semantic object now. I'll create a new semantic object called new entry, and I will call it as Anubhav Training semantic object. custom semantic object. I saw one company where they were dealing in like harrow machines. What is harrow machines? In agriculture, there is a machine which is manually operated by hand, and this is called harrow machine to basically take out the seed of pulses. That is where we use harrow machines. So in that case, they were using SAP and they wanted me to give a semantic object as harrow, HRRO, but that semantic object was not available from SAP. So I went ahead and I've created a semantic object in this T code. It's a custom semantic object. So this is how you can create custom semantic objects in the system, and you can explain the purpose. Yes, sometimes your business is very adamant, and the moment you save, it'll also ask you transport request. It's a good practice that whatever you're developing, put it in a single transport so everything can be shipped together to quality. So I'll use the same transport, my launchpad content and tiles, and are saved. So next time when you go back and if you do F4 and search here Anubhav trainings, oh, it's not visible. I think I have to refresh to be able to see, but you can actually just type here Anubhav trainings. System will accept it. It won't give you any error. Next is action. I can just say these are different actions which are available on our trainings. Monitor, for example. So that becomes my intent. I click on save, and now you see it is saving my tile. So my tile is created. But hey, hold on. This is just a dummy tile. If somebody click on the tile, if it is visible to the user, it will not take you anywhere. Why? Because we didn't even tell on click of this tile, where should it take me? Correct? That is what we give in target mapping. So what is target mapping? A target mapping is a place where we will provide the navigation targets for your semantic object and action, basically your intent. Remember, Fiori follows intent based navigation. Anything you want to access, it's intent based. So target mapping, what is target mapping? Again, it's modular. Everything is modularized. So is done in Fiori Launchpad Designer to identify which intent will navigate to which Fiori app. Okay, which intent will navigate to which Fiori app. Every Fiori app is deployed in SAP system as BSP app and has a ICF node created. Using target mapping, we can map a UI5 app or classical apps like WebDin Pro, GUI, etc. I'll show you them as and when we progress in our training. You will understand how to launch VS01 in the browser in Launchpad. We will learn that. So there are different ways you can launch an application. Yes, and it is possible there. So if I switch over back, go to target mapping, here is where we will create it. So it should be created for same semantic object and action. So Anubhav trainings dash monitor. You have to precisely maintain this. This is, I think, the second disadvantage, because you're creating at one place Anubhav trainings dash manage as a tile, and at the other place you are coming and creating its mapping. So sometimes what happens, people do mistakes. So here if they maintain an incorrect semantic object, navigation will not work. This is second biggest problem I've seen why tile doesn't work. So anytime your tile is not launching, not loading, the potential reason could be the mapping between the tile semantic object action or the intent is incorrect with the target mapping, or target mapping is deleted or it's not even there. So just cross check. Remember, this has to match exactly trainings track. That was my intent. Same intent you have to put it here to load the application. And now you can see the different types you can load: UI5 app, transaction, VS01, like that. URL or WebDin Pro. The different options are there. I'll choose SAP Fiori app. I will give a title again. This is useless. It's of no use. Whatever you give, it's just useless. Okay. So that's another disadvantage of Launchpad Designer. Let me maintain that. So first thing is we are providing the semantic object mapping at different place. Okay, we are providing the semantic object mapping at a different place and tile with its intent at different place. This sometimes cause confusion and high effort. This is another disadvantage. Guys, I'm writing disadvantages because I wanted to later on show you how SAP overcome this disadvantage with new tools. The third disadvantage, some properties are of no use in Launchpad. Like you just saw the title properties of no use. Okay, however, I'll maintain it, manage product. And now we need to maintain here the URL, the unique endpoint of this Fiori app. So where do you get this? So once you deploy a Fiori app, you see Z Fiori app dev. For this deployed Fiori app, if you just come down at the bottom in the manifest, you will find an entry called SAP Platform ABAP. And here you will see a URL. This is very important. If you don't find this entry, don't panic. Just take your app name Z Fiori app dev, go to a T code called SICF. So let me add the T code here. I will add it
तो अभी
SICF.
5G भी चेक करना पड़ेगा ना मैं बाकी
Attendee 3, please mute your line.
ये अच्छा राउटर है पहले डीलिंग का था ना पहले वाला गोलीबाज था ना वो दो एंटीना थे इसमें चार जब से आए हैं तो देख रहे हो कनेक्शन कितना स्टेबल
Okay, I have to throw him out of the session unfortunately. Okay, so now I just use SICF. I go inside SICF and now here I'm going to put the service path. So let's put the app name here. What was the app name? It was Z Fiori app dev. I'll paste that here in the service name. I can execute and there you can see the path. This is the one you have to take under UI5 section. Right click and then you can say test service. Okay, so now you can take this path. So this is the path you need to take, my friends. If you don't find that entry there, you can take this path from here. Okay, so now
Anubhav, this we are having a two paths over here, right? So what's this difference over these two paths?
yeah, the BSP app. So basically UI5 app is deployed as a BSP app. So this will create a BSP runtime server pages path. That is not the right one. The one which is related to you, because you know that it's a UI5 application. So the correct path is belongs to the UI5 underscore UI5. That is the one we should.
Okay, so SAP is considering it to be under both as a BSP. It's
Yes.
like UFI app is both BSP app and a UFI app. Okay.
Yes. All the Fiori apps. Yes, exactly. Very good point. Someone type in chat window. Does all Fiori apps be available under this node? Yes, you are right. Let me show you. So if I just go and put the path as UI5, yes, execute. So you see this node UI5 underscore UI5 SAP and all the Fiori apps which you deployed and successfully got deployed, they will be available. All standard and custom. You see, सारा का सारा यहाँ पे available है. All your custom, standard, जितना भी Fiori apps है, सब all the Fiori apps, they are all available. You see the huge list. All your custom apps, everything. Yes. All you see all these custom Fiori apps. How many custom Fiori apps you deployed in this server? All are visible under this address UI5 underscore UI5. Correct. But since I search only mine one, that's why it was showing that. You can take, if you don't find this entry, don't worry. You can take it from SICF. That's the endpoint. And that's exactly what is the navigation target. Here you need to add. So many times I see people maintain it incorrect. They put an extra space at the end. I've seen it, these kind of trivial mistakes they do. They put a space and then say my tile is not working. अभी आप पूरा दिन बैठे रहोगे, आपको पता नहीं चलेगा there is extra space. It creates problem. Truly it creates problem, guys. So some people put extra space at the end. Some people are so over smart, they put extra space before. It choti choti cheezein, small small errors, these will stop your navigation. It will create serious problem and you never be able to figure it out. I have one of my student who is, what he did, he put a space here and then whole team was struggling. They called up experts from SAP. They called so many people. They spent like 20 days to fix that issue, navigation issue. They opened tickets on SAP. Nobody was able to fix. Even I was scratching my hair for a week or so. Suddenly one night I got a dream. I don't know how it happened. It happens with me very often. I was sleeping and thinking about this, and then I thought, can we just try to create a duplicate tile replicating the same issue again? I did. It worked actually because I didn't put a space. So it's a user handling, it's a developer handling, it's a admin handling. And then I started comparing every property. I used to go to the bad tile, I copy this property, put in a notepad, and then I put my tile, and I realized that this small tiny space is what cost a lot. 20 दिन बर्बाद हो गए, 20 days because of this space. These are trivial mistakes which people do while tile navigation doesn't work. And it is true, they do this. Yeah, people don't even know how to copy paste also. Unfortunate, very unfortunate. I feel pity about them in industry, but they do. Okay, then comes next ID. So this is the ID you get from manifest. Copy that and then paste it here. That's the third thing, and you save. So now our target mapping, so configuration changes not saved for tile. What's the problem? Validation checks failed. Okay, I guess now, oh, see, good. SAP has introduced a validation. You see, guys, now I think SAP learned from that incident which happened. It happened 4 years ago. That time there was no validation, but good, now SAP have a validation here. At least people will not do these mistakes. If you are on old release, perhaps you may, but new release, they're taking care of it. Good. Click on save, and now you can see it will get saved. Wow. So that's my target mapping. So both tile and target mapping is ready. So we just created a catalog with tile and target mapping. Let's note down the steps. So click on plus, create a technical catalog, add tile, new tile with tile properties and intent. And then we went to go to target mapping and maintain intent with app type and navigation property like the path and all that stuff. Yes, click on save. We just have to save, and then as a next step we are done with catalog creation. Similarly, you will follow along, you will create all the tiles in your company. So let's create one more tile for VA01 transaction, your favorite sales order create. So I'll create again a static tile, and now I will choose here a create sales order. Of course, SAP already delivered this tile. You don't have to create it, but I'm just showing you how it is possible. So sales order VA01, just a sales order icon, and then we can choose sales order here. Perhaps there has to be a sales order. You see a lot of them are, a sales order is there, and I'll choose sales order. Let's say lookup. Why I'm choosing lookup? Because already there is a target mapping sales order dash manage, which is given by SAP standard content. So I wanted to keep mine one unique, not conflict with SAP one. Click on OK, save. So sales order dash lookup becomes the target mapping. Okay.
Anubhav, one more question I'm having over here. When we create a tile, we see a tile menu option at the bottom. What is the significance of that?
Which one?
This is tile actions, right? The third section over there. After general
Okay.
navigation, we are
Basically
having
extra URL parameter. So basically what happens is you can give extra like URL parameters over here, tile navigation target. So you can specify that if you have a tile, let's say there is an app and that app contains menu. Yeah, if there is a menu item, that menu item, it will automatically load here. And for that menu item, you can navigate to another application. So you can give another application navigation target. Let's say from create sales order application, there is a menu option, and in that menu option, you wanted to navigate to another app altogether. Let's say I wanted to navigate to another app target. For example, sales order dash manage. You can give that. This is cross app navigation basically to another application from this application. If you have menu item.
Okay, so but ideally we used to refer the semantic object directly on the UFI app. So this is the another option to do that, the same thing.
Yes, this is another option. So what if this is a standard app? Would you go and code and change the standard app code? No, no.
Okay.
Through the menu you can.
Got
But
it.
currently it will not work because I don't have any menu in my app.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next we go to target mapping. So guys, there are two tiles. Is it mandatory that you will have for every tile a target mapping? Guys, what's the relationship between tile and target mapping? Will you have one-to-one, or will it be n-to-one? Anyone? Tile versus target mapping. Who will answer? If you paid attention to last class, what's the relationship between tile and target mapping? Is it one-to-one or is it n-to-one? What is your answer? Answer A or answer B? Just type answer A or B. B is the correct answer because you can have multiple tiles with different titles. They multiple tiles can point to same target mapping also. It is possible. Okay. So the B is the correct answer. Certification question. What is the relationship between tile and target mapping? One-to-one, one-to-n, n-to-one, or none of above? So answer is n-to-one. Okay. For this case now we will have it for VA01. I'll create another target mapping. And now I will choose sales order again. Let's say lookup. And this time I choose a transaction code and I'll say sales order and I'll load VA01. Okay. So that's what I'll put. And I will put my backend system alias, which I created that day. We will put that because this VA01 belongs in the backend system. This is very important. I click on save. And I'm done with the second target mapping. So we created a classical GUI code and we created a Fiori app target in one catalog.
So one more question I'm having over here. We are having the parameter to be inputted at two places. When we create a tile and when we create a target mapping. What is the difference? Because on the tile, when we see over here, there is a parameter section, right? And also when we create a target mapping, there is altogether a separate section where we have to input the parameter. So what is the difference when we put a parameter over here and when we put a parameter on a target mapping?
So as I mentioned, there are multiple tiles can share the target mapping, right? Tile 1, tile 2. Let's say this tile, when somebody open, it will open a cost center 1001. But when somebody open this tile, it should open a cost center 1002 data. So parameter is now different per tile. So that's why you can put a tile level. But if you feel they're pointing to a target mapping, and just in case you don't want it to have separate cost center, you want to have single cost center. So why do you add it two times? You add it here at the target mapping level, cost center 1001, for example. So in that case, all the tiles will go to cost center 1001. But if you want tile specific, let's say this tile should take you cost center 1001, this to cost center 1002 URL parameter, then you can do it at tile level also. It's a flexibility option. So this way, if you start exploring every option, it will become very difficult for you to learn UI5 or this thing. You can't explore every option. It comes by use case. Right?
Yeah, got it.
It become infinite combination. On this screen, at least I see there are so many options. If you start every option like this, it become very difficult for you to learn the core concepts. So you will hardly use let's say 10% or 20% of it in your real life. right?
Yeah, ideally it's helpful because if we don't know, then we can utilize these concepts. I was
Right. But
aware of,
when the
about
use
only
case comes,
segmenting
that is
object.
when you would like to utilize, you don't want it to jump over and learn everything. In ABAP language, we have about 9,000 plus syntax. But do you learn all 9,000 syntax by going to documentation?
Not at all. Not at all.
Right? You
That's true.
just learn like 2000, you understand the system, overall system structure. And then when a use case comes, you see and explore how you can map it. So it's hard and difficult because to get into that level of granularity. But when a use case comes, maybe I don't know sometimes certain options. But since this was the one which I've already worked on, I would know it. Okay,
Mhm.
so let's rush to the next part, the group. So let's create a group now because group is eventually what groups your tile. So now I can create here two groups because I wanted to show my GUI tile separately and my UI5 tile separately. So I'll create two groups. Group should also follow naming convention. So let's put first my Fiori tiles, Fiori apps. So my custom Fiori app is one group, and I will say BCG, business catalog group. BCG we put it at, and then we'll say cross application, and I will say product manage. This is my first one, underscore Fiori. Let me copy the group name. That's our next step. Click on save. So after this, we will create a two groups. First one is this one. Second one is, let me put it as GUI. I'll be creating two groups. So first is my custom Fiori app. I'll click on save. It's my group. I will now add the tile, and as you know all last class, the group will hold tile from different catalogs. So I can also add, any standard SAP catalog also I can use to add tiles. So I can just go anywhere, any random catalog. I can pick any tile, Fiori app tile. Let's say I pick it. And then I will of course take my own GTCCA manage PRD, ZTCCA, this one, my custom one, and now I see my tiles. So I pick up this Fiori app, add it to the group. So now my group has one standard tile from SAP and one custom tile of my own. Fantastic. The next one comes is another group. Let me create. So this one is my custom T codes, GUI tiles. Yes, that's my second one. I just copy this one and I say okay. Click on save, and I'll just choose here. Once again, I just choose one GUI tile, and now it's added to my second group. So basically I'm doing a grouping of my tiles into two different groups so that it will look organized. Because if I have, let's say, 500 tiles, if I blindly put all 500 tiles on the screen, it will look very dirty. So we wanted to properly group things up on the system. That is why we did it. Okay, we are done now. The group is done. Next step is finally to create a role. Now remember all of these changes what I did were logged in a transport request. You can go and check, cross check your transport, go in SC01, and you can see here my launchpad content. Click plus. You can see some content have come inside. You see there was a semantic object change, and you see this content. Yeah, all these are, so basically it's too technical to digest. Yeah, but you can at least get a flavor of something is being logged in my TR. This is an evidence that we created two groups, one catalog and three tiles. You see all of it is properly maintained in my content. Okay, so create a role in PFCGT code. Now this also follows a naming convention. So ZBR, BR stands for business role. So I'm just following, you see, notice my all objects. So first is ZTC, technical catalog cross application manage PRD, ZBCG, business catalog group manage product, GBCG, cross application manage product GUI, and then we have ZBR, business role cross application manage prod. This way you can actually find relevant content much easier if you follow naming convention in your company. We are not just learning here for your security, we are learning best practices also. And you will see the same process SAP also follows with their content. So ZBR business role, I'm creating a new role. It's simple BR business role. for accessing custom Fiori apps. And now I will go to menu and I will just add here the launchpad group and catalog. Now you see there's a third option called space. This is only there in S/4HANA 2020 system. We will talk about it later in coming lectures. This is a new concept called space which overrides the group concept. Anyway, let's for now click catalog and I will choose my catalog ID which I've already stored in my PPT. So this is my catalog ID. I'm going to copy and paste that here. Okay, it has come. Next step is we take the group name. So we have two groups, both the groups I want to add. Now one question, if I just add my catalog, not the groups, will user be able to access my application? Will user be able to access my application? Access. Yes, very good answer. The moment you give access to catalog, user will be able to access, but by default, the tiles will not be visible to the user. Okay, they will be hidden from the main screen area. So user can find them in the app finder actually. If user go to app finder now, and here if user search, user will find them. By default, those apps won't be visible on the main area, like on this top area, because you didn't give the group access. Okay, you didn't give the grouping access. So that is what will happen. So be careful. If you miss the group, then user will not see by default, though they can go and go to app finder, they can find your tile. So sometimes people come and complain that I have added the catalog, still user can't see the tile. User have access now. User can go to app finder, search the tile and add it to their home page. So that's another use case what you may see. Okay, coming back to catalog group, and I will just add the group BCG, business catalog group. Click OK. The second group is also the GUI group. I just put GUI. Sorry, not GUID, GUI. What's the name? It's GUI capital. Yes, it's added, and then I'll save it. Next is authorization. Let's generate the profile to give access to this group and catalog. And you see the app which I've used, guys, this app that you remember we just added another app randomly from a different place. Yes, that actually that app which I've added in my group requires some extra parameters like what's the company code, purchasing organization, controlling area, profit center. These properties, these field values, it need I'm giving full authorization so that you can see full data of this. So this is what happens. Some applications would require additional parameters which system will pop you up on the screen. I save, generate profile, and I go back. Profile is generated. Let's grant this to my own user mob5. I'm granting it to my own user mob5. User compare, yes, compare, close, and we're done. Now let's go back as a user mob5. Last time you saw there was no my custom Fiori app, my custom GUI app here. Nothing is there. Yes, my custom thing is not there. If I refresh now, I would now see a group called my custom Fiori app and my custom GUI app. The groups, both the groups will be visible to you on the screen now on the reload, on the next reload. So that's what it will do now. You will be able to see the groups soon once it loads. So those groups will have now total 3 tiles, 2 GUI tiles, two that tile and 1 GUI tile. So now if I go inside, you will see here, you see my custom Fiori app and my custom GUI tile. Wow, groups have come. I click and you see here my GUI tile, and just above that, okay, my GUI tile and my custom Fiori app. So you see here, it's oops. See, my custom Fiori app has nothing. Oh my God, something's wrong with this. But at least my GUI tile is there. I click on GUI tile. It should open sales order. You see it's opening the GUI transaction, SAP GUI transaction as web GUI, guys. Remember web GUI, the GUI transaction. So any transaction code, Z transaction code, whatever you have in your company, You can open them here. Yes, it's taking some time. Yes, there you go. It opened. But why my Fiori tiles are not visible? Something is wrong. Yes, it's empty. There's something wrong. So perhaps the issue is with the authorization. I think the profile did not generate correctly for the authorization. I think that's why it's not working. So let me just grant full authorization for time being, because there's another tile which was there inside that group which requires certain authorization. Yes, let me also do that. It may not be visible otherwise. Yes, I could just grant these authorizations here. Just regenerate the profile. Yes, done. And I think we just do a user comparison on a safer side. Save it. And now let's go back and test again. We should see ideally the app. Our tile should load ideally. If it's not, then maybe you have to troubleshoot offline and then show you in the next class why it's not coming. So maybe there is something wrong we have done, some conflicting mapping. So we will learn the troubleshooting, of course, if it doesn't work. But let's see. I just reload. Now sometimes it could be cache issue in your browser. So you can press F12, right click and say empty cache and hard reload. But these are all we will look at troubleshooting steps later on. But first now let's see if I see my group, my Fiori tiles. Yeah, it's not coming, guys. I have to check it offline, and then in the next class I will show you how to troubleshoot and make that work. Okay, so there's some problem in our group or in our catalog. Yes, maybe I've given incorrect action. Let me just cross check. Somebody's saying incorrect action.
Anu, I think in the target mapping we have
Yes,
given
there is
wrongly
monitor.
the action.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah.
It was monitor, and in the target mapping, actually, I have given incorrect.
You have given
I have given
track. You
lookup.
have given.
I've given track. Yes, thank you so much. I think that's the issue. You see, actually, we did a troubleshooting. We did a issue management, and I say it was what lookup, right?
Monitor actually.
Monitor. Okay, perfect. So let's save it. So good guys. You catch my errors. That's very good. So this kind of issues may come in your system as well. So if I refresh now, we have corrected the target mapping. At least it should show my tile, my custom tile, if the target mapping is correct. But there are tools which will tell you issues with target mapping also. So I'm done with today's class. So these were the steps we created our content, our custom content for the first time. I have to rush for another meeting at 8 o'clock sharp. We have 2 minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Anubhav, I do see that SAP has provided multiple system alias for their standard app, like S4,
Yes,
S4F. Then
we will come to
what
that.
is the
That's
significance?
not, yeah, you are right. Very good question. It's called alias mapping. We will discuss this in coming days. So please wait for the next classes. Definitely, it's a very important topic you brought in. We will definitely discuss about it. Yes. Okay.
And one more question. I'm having a quick one. When we create a KPI tile, it is available only on the custom level. It's kind of a customizing tile. I'm not sure why it's so. Any
Which one?
the KPI tile we used to create a KPI tile from the KPI
I
designer.
don't think so
So,
that it is under cust. We can create it using conf also. Maybe there is a reason why there was a need for created in cust. That's why your security admin have created under cust. But I don't see a reason of putting it as cust. We will create it under conf only.
okay, got it.
Mhm. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm really sorry we have a batch started actually for corporate training on US timings.